One load cell later, and the championship changes once again. It shrinks after 1/3 of the championship is already scored complete after 1 week ago at Donington Park. Here, though, back in the United States of America, finding ourselves in Brazelton, Georgia. We are here at Road Atlanta for 3 more rounds of fantastic action, which continuously never ceases to amaze us here on Forever Sim Racing, the British Sim Racer TCR Sunday Cup, live and uninterrupted. It's Jake Sperry here in the commentary booth, joined once again with Caitlin Penny, Marco Barbanera on the cameras for us, brought to you by Dougie Beard. For those who get it done for us, Force X Design, who have been instrumental in helping us with the graphics. They have been brilliant. The music that you are hearing right now has been created by Violet. You can catch her stuff on Bandcamp and also on Spotify as well. And on top of that, all of this on Forever Sim Racing. But Caitlin, qualifying currently underway, 30 minutes uninterrupted to get yourself all the way towards the end. And of course, it takes a little while for the tyres to get themselves up to temperature. But Nico Foggy made big inroads in the championship last week, and he's on top of the timings for the moment.
Yeah, certainly he's getting closer and closer to the back of Nebeljak in terms of the order. Only 28 points behind now, but already taking a lot of time out of him. In fact, we're still yet to see Nebeljak set a lap. Nebeljak, just like last time, slightly later to set a qualifying time. So we'll see what he can do with that, but that would definitely be good for Nico Foggy if he could take the top spot. We're at Road Atlanta today, as you've already said, and that's very, very exciting. It's a track which everyone knows. It's a track which pretty much everyone has driven at some point in time because of those sweeping S's, that difficult rise over the hill heading towards the final corner, and also up through turn 1 as well. It's a really, really difficult circuit, one that takes a long time to get used to, as Petit Le Mans, of course, went there this week, and I'm sure that the drivers would have been dreaming about this one for the upcoming month.
Well, they'll be dreaming about a lot of things. The Drivers' Championship, though, something to keep in mind. The Nebeljac's lead was almost 100 points at one point in time. Now that lead has been sliced back down to 28 points. He only scored 152 coming out of Donington Park, and that really does show you just how difficult it is. Keep yourself up ahead and floating above the surface, but keep an eye on Robin Haase in 3rd position. He's only 43 points back, very much in the title fight at the moment. It looked after the opening couple of rounds that Haase was very much going to be playing in a fight for 3rd. Now he's broken away from that pack of Johnny Brandon and Ashley Beard, now thinking himself about, well, I'm very much in the championship with my teammates.
Well, it's interesting that Cedric Nebeljak there has just set the fastest time so far by over 2.5 tenths of a second there. It's a 127.7 flat from Cedric Nebeljak. He's getting a slipstream as well from the car ahead, so Nebeljak already charging. Oh, Nico Foggy now going to the top with a 127.476, so it's changed once again. Still waiting for Robin Haase. He has not yet set a time, although he is currently on track and getting a good slipstream, so actually it's not easy, but he's on track and we'll see what he can do.
Yes, Robin Haase now making his way towards turns 10A and 10B, the left-right chicane, which heads into the drifting section on the right-hand side, which always looks to be very, very useful in terms of a quick escape once you find yourself spun around at that section. Very fast-flowing final corner for Haase. Crosses the line and does a 28-1. That's good enough for position 5 at the moment. Teams Championship, though, and there is a change in that championship. Crucially, XV Racer take themselves to the top, 43 points clear of Team Rensport Online. But crucially, look at the battle for 3rd here, Caitlin. Sight, Energy, and Momo tied with each other on points. And after Momo really abandoned themselves, had the opportunity to get a 1-2-3 lockout in round 11 of the championship, they could have been miles ahead of where they are right now.
Both of them absolutely level on points, as you said. Of course, Sight Energy's top driver in the championship is Ashley Beard, who we're yet to see setting a lap in this session. And of course, Mumu's top driver is Kip Stevens, ninth in the Drivers' Championship currently, and Kip Stevens is also yet to make a showing, I believe. So we're yet to see what those two can do in this qualifying session. Although, of course, they also have other quick drivers in Jamie Ayres for Mumu, and then, of course, the other top Zeit Energy driver is Adam McNally, currently 10th in the championship. So those are the people you've got to keep an eye on, as well as possibly Lee Diemer and Steve Hefford, I believe.
Well, you've got to keep an eye out on all of those. The amateur category championship, though, Charles Kellyman maintains the championship lead. 40 points his margin, but crucially, after a win in round 11, Sean Gardner for Boosthead Motorsports now finds himself in that second position and trying to chase that down. You don't often see many amateur drivers picking up victories, but that is a huge haul of points that Sean Gardner is going to try and take to the bank and continue to cash in here at Road Atlanta.
So top three now, Foggy, followed by Nebelzhek and Haase. So Haase goes third there with a 127.8 flat. So exactly a tenth of a second off Nebelzhek for the time being. And the top three in the championship, once again, are the top three in the order following them so far. Are oh, no, never mind, because Johnny Brandon's just taken second. So it's a 127.675, putting him just under 2/10 of a second behind Nicole Foggy. And Johnny Brandon here for XV Racer could be on to take pole position away from his teammate if he can continue to gain at that rate. Whatever the case, it looks like there's a high chance of it being an XV Racer front row of the grid today.
It very much could. And look at the top 6 in this qualifying session. Foggy and Brandon, both XV Racer. Then you've got Nebelzhek, Haase, and Carstensen, all from Team Rennsport Online. Dan Brown in 6th, XV Racer. So the three drivers only allowed to score in terms of constructs, or what I'd say is teams points. I'd like to say constructors, but they're all one. You have to say that it is very much XV Racer and Rennsport Online who are in complete control of things at the moment in qualifying, and that has been the story that we have seen so many times before. But look who's just on the cusps of those sorts of drivers. You've got both Chris Danes and Richard Haynes, the Danes and Haynes connection, as they both like to make some great times. And those two drivers will be looking at, okay, well, where's the next stage of improvement for us? We're only a good half a second, if not a second off a pole, and half a second off of some big, big positions.
So Foggy, Brandon, Nebelzhek, then Haas, Carstensen, currently the top 5, with Dan Brown in P6 as more times continue to come in. You see that the final corner is a long sweeping right-hander, very, very fast downhill. Not too long actually, but very, very fast. And as a result, it's very, very easy to get it wrong right at the end of your lap. If you dip some wheels into the grass, you can sometimes get dragged wide. Robin Haas there does improve his qualifying time, but still stays 4th behind Cedric Nebelzhek. He got a good run out of the final corner on his flying that lap there, although still 0.077 off Nebelzhek ahead.
Well, he only needs to find that, and he is effectively a 10th off of Johnny Brandon as well, so not too much time to go and find, but there is cloud cover here over the circuit. It's mostly cloudy conditions here today. Track temp 34 degrees in these conditions. In sim time 11:17, so just past 11:15. Not much wind at all, no rising humidity to speak of either, so this is going to be a good challenge for drivers to get those times right down and really quickly, but they have to do so ideally in the next 10 minutes or so, because that track is going to rubber back in, and that is going to be the big changing point of this qualifying session. Once there's rubber on that track, and that track's been heated up with the iRacing dynamic track system, it gets a lot tougher to go out there and get the time that you're looking for. Someone who did find a bit of time improvement was Kip Stevens in the 55. He moves up to 15th place.
So Kip Stevens up to P15, as you say. He's just behind Lorne Murray in terms of the order. And is Murray new? Because I don't think I've seen him in this order before.
He's had one race before this season. That was at round 2 of the
Okay.
championship. So we haven't seen much of Lorne, but we are going to see more of Lorne throughout the year.
Gotcha. He's also just ahead of Peter Van Gool there. So Van Gool, a driver who we know has more pace than that at times. He was running. Didn't he win race 3 last time out?
No,
I
he
think
didn't.
he was on course for it and then crashed for the lead. I seem to remember.
Yes.
So wants to wants to get some points back after that disappointment. Across the lane again goes Robin Herser, starting another flying lap. I was wondering whether he was completing one there, but I believe he came out of the pit lane last time around, so that's not happening quite yet. The two XV Racer, I say two, but the two main XV Racer contenders for pole here are currently dragging each other down the straight, Foggy dragging Brandon at the time being. Not getting out of the way as they come into the corner, so I'm not sure that was an attempt to get Brandon a new top time. I think they may just be about to set up for a lap potentially. So I'll see if their times do change when they come across the line this time. Whoa,
No.
as Brandon goes wide and over the grass, and no improvement from the pair of them.
No improvements, but Adam Hedgecock in the Boost Ted machine is now up into 6th place overall, and that's a big improvement for the 13, who now blitz Dan Brown away from the Rensport train in 3rd, 4th, and 5th place at the moment in qualifying, as they all decide to pull off the 3 XV Racer boys to get their times going, and that was on the outside of turn 4 out on track. Other drivers to keep an eye out on is the 1-3 machine. Julian Janowski, the Bulgarian-based driver, and I would say the second of the 2 great Bulgarian drivers that are here on the iRacing service. Outside of Janowski, you have to look at Stelian Chepelevsky as one of the best drivers to come out of Bulgaria on the iRacing service, but Janowski, very, very quick, always up there, always has something to prove. A former Kia World Series champion has got a lot of pace, adjusting to this TCR car nicely, and in this Audi, 8th place and only 9/10 off of pole position. I think Janowski can take that one to the bank very handsomely.
He's just starting another lap, I believe, or just about to rather, down the long back straight. And again, another straight that actually counts as several corners, just as we saw last time out. Well, not last time out, but when we were at Road America. And now Janowski, yeah, it does look like he's just about to set up for another flying lap. So goes on to that at present, and we'll see if he can get up into the top 7 with this attempt.
Definitely see if he can find himself inside the top 10. I just heard word from Adam McNally. You get out of the way, please. I'm on a flying lap. He had to go over to radio communication, try and make sure that he got his point across as he gets over the line. He does a 140.6 as he looks to set up his flying lap. Got draft in front of him. That's Dean Timms, his first start of the season, and Ethan Bass, also his first start of the season, both part of the BrickTech Sim Sport squad, and they will both be looking to try and get some good lap times in. And down towards the S's, then through turn 4 comes McNally, and now you head through these S's sections. A big flick right, you can't take too much curb on the inside, then you get the left right up the hill, and the very difficult turn 5 braking zone. Special camera placed here today, because this is the corner where it mainly goes wrong.
Yeah, it's great that we have a camera there, because now we're going to be able to pick up everything that's going on at that sector, and I hope that we don't see too much carnage in the races today. But well, I don't think any amount of finger crossing is really going to make a difference. And what happens. It's the BSR, and I'm sure that we're going to see a great amount of fun today. Anyway, past the gravel trap they had. I'm mainly watching Johnny Brandon at this point in time, even though Nicole Foggy looks as if he may be setting up to give him another slipstream here, so we'll see how that works. Of course, at this point in time, Foggy doesn't necessarily need to improve his laps himself, because he has a huge advantage. His main rival, if you don't count Johnny Brandon, since Brandon is one of his teammates, is actually Nabeljak, who's over 0.2 of a second back. So at this point in time, I think it's all about giving Johnny Brandon a bit more of a buffer to Nabeljak and the rest of the chasing pack.
I was looking at Nicole Foggy in practice, and I was seeing he was a lot he was able to hold a lot more speed carrying through the corner whilst keeping a tighter turning circle throughout quite a bit of the track. So that's maybe where we're seeing quite a bit of the improvements going out there here today, keeping an eye out on drivers who are improving in terms of their times. Peter Van Gool is up into 14th position now on a 128.5 for the Momo team. He's got Dan Blake in the year one car, Graham Sessford's team, there in 13th. Dan Blake's having a very good run. Last week, he managed to get himself into a big accident racing at Oulton Park before heading to Donington for racing action that we had on Forever Sim Racing, and ended up racing with a dodgy finger. So hopefully that's all nice and healed up for Dan as he looks to try and find some improvements. But it seems that it's all pain, all gain at the moment. He only needs a quarter of a tenth of a second, and that is good enough for a top 10 and then some.
Yeah, Dan Blake there currently in 13th position as well, just setting a time which wasn't quite quicker than his personal best, although very, very close, and heading on to another lap. Still, though, the top 10 looking very familiar with the top 4 in the order. The top 4 that we're used to seeing in these qualifying sessions. Foggy, followed by Brandon, Nebelziak, and Haas. Although, of course, everything can change in the races. Whoa, Nebelziak there with a massive slide. I think possibly pushing a bit too hard there through through the top of the hill at turn 6 and 7. Not entirely sure how the straight happens to count as 2 corners, yet the S's, which are quite clearly about 8 corners, only count as 5. Weird how they number these things, but whatever the case, Nebelziak has to back out of that lap, and I think he may be about to either bail into the pits or go for another one.
Well, as we all know, Scott Steiner does a lot of maths for many racing circuits out there on track. So we'll see how that plays out in terms of numbers a little bit later on in time. But Robin Haase has improved his time, 127.716, now half a tenth off of second, a quarter of a tenth off of first. So he was so close, but close does not get yourself enough when you're racing around here, and that much is very crucial around this track. Chris Daines, who was very vocal on his stream on how he thought the racing action went at Donington Park a week ago, he's up into 7th position now on a 128.1. He's just 100th behind Adam Hedgecock, and that doesn't tell you anything much. It tells you that Chris Daines is here and he is wanting to race strong.
Down the back straight again. Still, although Chris Daines has 7th position, he's not really that far ahead of Dan Brown, who is also aiming to improve. Although, also looking at the order, he's only a hundredth of a second in terms of lap time behind Adam Hedgecock. So it could also be that Chris Daines breaks into the top 6 here. He's just completing another lap. I'm not sure if he was pushing for it in this lap or how quick it's been so far. Crosses the line, no improvement for Daines. He may well go for another one here. That is if his tyre life permits it. However, sometimes it does take a little while for the tyres to get up to temperature, of course. We're using the new tyre model 7, which means that the tyres start cold and warm up as you put heat into them. Front-wheel drive cars don't tend to have too much of a problem heating up their tyres. However, we've seen it happening, and I've heard from drivers that that is the case, and often your second or third lap is your quickest.
Well, even more. Sometimes you're 4th, sometimes you're 5th, depending on how the track is working and how long you have to go. Remember, drivers have 1 fast repair available to them, but they have to finish on the leading lap to be eligible for 2 reverse grids. That'll be happening later on this evening. You've got a reverse grid to work out where everyone goes in the second of 2 15-minute races for rounds 13 and 14. Then the final reverse grid for the 30-minute feature that'll be going off in the final stages of racing here before we head to round 16 to 18 of the championship, which mark the halfway stage at the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona. So we'll keep an eye out on that, how momentum will change once again in terms of qualifying times. But we have seen a few drivers who are yet to set qualifying times at the moment. We've got one driver with not the best representative time in the world. Going wide at turn 5 just there is Andrew Woodhouse in the number 23 Evolution Racing Team machine. So that's not ideal for Woody as he looks to find some improvement. Sean Gardner, Adam Bath, and Dan James have not set times in qualifying and have not gone out to try and attempt a time, which says to me that they may have some form of penalty potentially that says I'm not allowed to qualify.
Potentially, I've just noticed that Robin Haase has improved his lap again, although still hasn't got quite quick enough to overtake Cedric Nebeljak for third position. He's improved his lap time twice, where in the time that I've been looking at it, and still he stays in that fourth position. No one yet has been able to go quick enough to move his first lap. However, that's a proper lap from Nebeljak to put him on the front row of the grid and split the XV racer, guys.
Yes, Nebeljak up into second, and one of his best traits has been damage limitation. He's been so good at it. And in qualifying, we've seen how good Nebeljak's been, but we've seen Nicole Foggy is the master. He's been getting pole positions more than anybody else in this. As Johnny Brandon responds straight back, as does Nicole Foggy. Both of them going quicker. 27-4 for Brandon, 27-2 for Nicole Foggy. The XV Racer boys are on another planet at the moment with a brilliant qualifying time. I was going to say Scott Malcolm's up to 14th, Robert Lundgren up to 12th, but Foggy and Brandon have found two pearlers of time.
Both running together on track as well. It's surely like being in some kind of bullet train if you're on the back of that, because they are going so quickly in those Audi RS3 TCR cars at this point in time. So Foggy at the top, followed by Brandon, Nebeljak, Haas, and Carstensen, the top 5. I've also just noticed that Scott Malcolm jumped up a couple of places to P13. He's just been demoted to P14, so someone's got back ahead of him there and jumped up the order. It may have been Adam McNally, who I think was further back beforehand. So McNally now in 13th place ahead of Malcolm. A little bit of swapping of the order further back. And in all of that, Peter Van Gore, who looked like he may have been on for 12th place earlier on, is down to P16 now.
Very much changes with the flip of a couple of laps. The track is ever evolving, and you need to find some great times in the last 3.5 minutes now here of qualifying to make sure that everything plays out in your favor. At the end of these 3.5 minutes, you do have the ability to go and finish that lap time, and that's going to be very crucial for a lot of drivers out here. Need just a few fractions to find improvement. You look at drivers, say, who are in that 128.3 category. Kip Stevens, Richard Haynes, Julian Janowski, all 9th, 10th, 11th, all could find a small bit of improvement, and the slightest improvements could give them a lot of time in the overall. Some drivers are trying to find a bit more. Andrew Woodhouse moves on to a 29.9. We're talking about those Evolution Racing drivers. They feel like their set is a lot better suited to 30 minutes worth of running, and that's something to keep in mind. Some drivers are trying to set up that car to be good for the long feature race.
Of course, we have two 15-minute races followed by a 30-minute race. And when you hear us referring to that feature race, you're hearing us referring to the half-an-hour race, the race 3. Even though realistically, it's still pretty much a sprint race, and they're going to be going for it the entire way through. It just happens to be double the length of the others, and as a result, some of the drivers will want to have a slightly different setup for that, just to make sure the cars are a bit more stable, and just to make sure that the tires don't fall off the cliff. Because of course these are front-wheel drive cars, they do eat up their tires fairly quickly. Although other drivers have got that already, and they're just going for out-and-out sprint race speed, which is what you'll see from a lot of the quicker and more experienced drivers in this pack.
Base just moved up into 14th position, 128.473, a good time from him. Finds that good improvement, but suddenly Ashley Beard comes up with a lap time. He's looking all day long for something in the top 5 of the championship, and now he gets up to 14th on a 128.4. He's going to have to use some pretty good driving to get himself up through the field once again, because Ashley Beard is not where he needs to be with 1.5 minutes remaining on the clock. Can he find a little bit more? The V Racer boys, the XV Racer boys, all out there on track looking to get some times. They're all drafting behind Adam Hedgecock at the moment, looking to get one more lap in, as is Haase and Carstensen at the moment out on track. So everybody looking to try and find some times. One driver who isn't, though, I believe, is Cedric Nebelshek, who's decided, I can't go any quicker than a 27.448. He improved, but he did not find an improvement on his position. Very, very crucially, with just 50 seconds to go, he can go no better than third.
So the timer ticking down. Drivers just about to start their last flying lap. Foggy and Brandon both going for one more attempt, I think. I'm looking to see where the other drivers are on track as well. Haase, I don't think will make it to start another time, so he's got to hope that what he's got here is quick enough. However, he is a long way back from the cars ahead of him in terms of the order. Looking further back as well, Carstensen following Haase around on track, not getting as much of a slipstream as Haase is getting from that other driver there. And slipstream straight past him. Few more drivers also starting their last flying laps, but we have fewer than 10 seconds to go until the checkered flag is waved.
And will Dan Blake make it across the line? The answer's going to be no, so Dan Blake can't. He will cross the line. Does he find improvement? No, he doesn't, so that's not good at all. Robin Haase, though, needs to find some times. He dives down to pit road. He won't find him, nor will Carstensen or Jackalette in the year one car. He will dive down onto the lane. Adam Hedgecock will not go quicker. Dean Timms under pressure because Nicole Foggy has to abandon lap, as does Johnny Brandon. They know they're safe. They don't have to improve their times, but Dan Brown is still on a good lap after the small flick left of turn 8, heads down the hill at 9, and the big depression braking zone at 10A and 10B needs to find something here. He's down in 8th place and needs to try and help his teammates out a little bit because Carstensen in 5th place is the third scoring driver for Ren Sport Online. Up the hill comes Dan Brown and back down it once again. Down onto pit road, he will not find the improvement. Can Dean Timms, who's in 29th on a 29.6, no, he cannot, so he will not find any improvement. What about, though, Ashley Beard in the Excite Energy Machine? Round 10B, and then up under Suzuki Bridge, and in through 11 and 12 once more as you fall away down the hill. Have to get the power down nicely, and he covers it beautifully. 128.487. He did not find the improvement that he was looking for. Paul Burgess runs wide and spins it. That's going to be the end of his chance, as Ethan Bass will not find improvement. Everyone across the line. This is qualifying. So Nico Foggy then, pole position on a 127.295. Johnny Brandon will be alongside him on the front row, and all XV Racer front row. Cedric Nebelshek, Robin Haase, Niels Carson, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, all for Ren Sport Online, with Adam Hedgecock in the Boost 10 Motorsport machine in 6th place. Chris Danes and Dan Brown are on row 4, row 5, Julian Janowski and Richard Haynes.
Kip Stevens makes row 11, or P11, sorry, followed by Robert Lundgren, Anna McNally, then Ashley Beard, Ethan Bass, Scott Malcolm, Dan Blake, Peter Van Gore, Lorne Murray, and Carl Jackalette.
It's a return to racing after a week's ban for the gentleman John Roberts, with Carl Hardy in 22nd. Paul Burgess, who's very good at defending, in 23rd, with Lee Deemer alongside him. Michael Bingham and Jim Flanagan are on row 13 with Martin Sampson and Andy Maxwell. Dean Timms rounds out 29 with 30th. Charles Kellerman, I'll just finish the last 4 off. Andrew Woodhouse is starting from 31st. Adam Bath, Daniel James and Sean Gardner do not take to start of qualifying. They will, however, be able to start during the race. So 2 minutes now terms of the gridding procedure, or you start from pit road. Whichever one that you decide that you want to choose is going to be the best strategy for you. But of course, a very difficult track, especially when these vehicles are like ice when they hit the grass or gravel, and any point like that, you have to make sure you stay on the road. Otherwise, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble. And this is what Road Atlanta does so well so many times. It punishes you for the smallest mistakes, and it takes a perfect drive to even consider yourself anywhere near a race victory. It's one of those tracks which aren't tier 1 category in terms of FIA licensing, but as a tier 2 track is very much always loved and fabled, especially with Petit Le Mans very much happening this weekend. But what can Nicole Foggy do? He's got his back covered by Johnny Brandon. He knows Nebelshek and Haase both want to score some big points. Robin Haase has been knocking on the door, looking to find them, and could be leading the championship if he hasn't had so many penalty points. But look further back. What about Janowski? What about Dan Brown? What about Chris Danes and Adam Hedgecock, who can all make sure that they can prove themselves at the top level? Worth noting that the amateur category leader, Charles Kellyman, has just had himself a big technical issue, a disconnect before the start of this race. He will not be able to take to the starting grid in time as Nicole Foggy gets himself up onto the grid as they wait under the Advan Yokohama Bridge for the lights to come on, and the green flag is going to wave, and let's get ourselves underway. And it's a slow start for Nicole Foggy, but he gets a good second phase of acceleration, able to cover off the move. Nebelshek trying to chase down early to get down the inside of Johnny Brandon. Can he get the move sorted at turn 1? You bet that he can. He's got the inside for turn 3, but turn 2, it's always going to be very difficult at this section. The single file, and Nebelshek gets the jump on Johnny Brandon as they head to the S's for the very first time. In the back of the pack, a bit of contact. One of the Excite cars goes around, and that's Ashley Beard into the fence. 2 around at that section as they now look to try and get themselves back off going again. A disaster for the man 5th in the championship.
Yeah, trying to work out who the other driver there is, but I can't quite see just yet. But whatever the case, Ashley Beard there having a dreadful start, getting away from the, leaving the scene of the crime, so not having to retire because of that. Although he may have some damage, he'll definitely have some damage to his race time. Whatever the case, he's going to have to see if he can bring it back on the reverse grid for race 2. But here comes Johnny Brandon chasing down Nebelshek down the back straight, catching,
it's a big
going
one
to the right-hand side, sorry.
There's a big accident, and it's involving Peter Van Gool, and they get out of the way there as they fan on by, so we're gonna stay green for this one for the time being. But a huge accident involving Peter Van Gool, and that one very easily could have ended in even bigger disaster. Great heads-up driving from everyone to get out of the way. That's coming out of turn 7 and in towards turn 8 on the long back straight. 1 lap score complete, then Foggy leads Johnny Brandon back through into second position through all of that. Got it done at 10A and 10B, and then you've got the Rennsport train, which involves a mistake there from Johnny Brandon, who now has Nebelshek down the inside. Bit of contact between them, and there's a drift coming along from Johnny Brandon. Nebelshek's going to try and go to the outside. Bit more comeuppance as he tries to force him the long way around. Nebelshek finds a way through, but Johnny Brandon, the man with a plan, did not have a plan to execute against that.
Yeah, Nebelshek there through into second again, although I must say Brandon's move last lap was a really brave one around the outside into the chicane. That's how you do it, but I'm afraid if you can't hold off your opponent, you're not going to stay in that position. So Nebelshek goes back through to second. However, they are now in a very similar position to the order that they were in last time around. And Brandon may have another a second bite at the apple, I suppose you could say, as he chases down Cedric Nebelshek towards the chicane. And I reckon he may be close enough to try something here.
Well, he got it done a lap ago. Nebelshek defends it this time, but he got to go the long way round. Oh, there's contact again. Nebelshek goes spread eagle sideways, able to slow it up on the exit. Look at Robin Haase. He's going to try and thread the needle, and he's going to get pushed all the way to the inside by Johnny Brandon, who gets freight trained by the Rennsport train, and now drops himself back all the way to 5th place after all of that. Rennsport Online played a team fight tactics perfectly as they get on the brakes into turn 1 again. Johnny Brandon now probably losing it, gets himself on the inside, and off goes Niels Carstensen into the grass, with Johnny Brandon now losing a position to Chris Danes as well as a response to that. Johnny Brandon is in all sorts of trouble as he keeps going.
Oh, and someone's off in the background as well. I believe it was one of the higher place drivers. He's lost a lot of places now. Was it Danes?
It was Haynes. It was Richard Haynes who was involved in that one. That was contact with Adam McNally, was it, as they were heading through turn 3. And it just felt to me that he just got off the curb ever so slightly wrong, did Richard Haynes. Gets himself turned around. They were very close quarters, and he's able to get going, but he is behind the optical car now of Andy Maxwell. So Richard Haynes in all sorts of trouble, as it seems that everyone has been looking left and right and hoping that things are going to go right for them here in the racing, as I've just spied Peter Van Gool on pit road hitting the wall and saying, yep, I'm done, as a memento to say I cannot find any improvements on my car.
So Robin has that great opportunistic driving to go up into second place, but look in the background now as we've got Chris Danes defending from Dan Brown, but Brown's gone through, so Brown goes through into to sixth position, I believe, in all of that, and of course here comes Adam Hedgecock in the process. I believe that's Hedgecock anyway. It is. You have to
Oh,
say, oh no,
no.
oh, and
Bang!
he's
Into
upside
the wall.
down.
Upside down goes Chris Danes. Just like that, he's able to right himself, as these vehicles are very tanky, but I don't know how much damage Chris Danes has. Just like that, he gets caught on the quarter panel there with Adam Hedgecock on the outside, and it ends in disaster. Maybe you could question that Hedgecock did have entitlement to the room that he had on the outside. It's very much a one-line corner. You always filter to the outside, and Chris Danes will be, again, very upset that his race ends early.
Yeah, it was very much actually like the incident with Nebelsiak and Brandon a lap before, in the way that they just got muscled out wide. And I have to say that personally, I think that was all on Chris Danes there. And I also think that Niels Carstensen has every right to be annoyed at being put down to seventh position in all of that as well. He would have thought that he deserved fourth position, and to be honest, he has a good claim to that place, as Nebelsiak gets hers.
Well, does he? He's on the inside, though, heading to this magical 10A, 10B over. Take the opportunity. Look at Johnny Brandon trying to be opportunistic. Makes contact there with Robin Haase, able to get away with it, and the Belchek can run on free in second position. Nicole Foggy has broken away from everyone at the front of this field, but crucially, Johnny Brandon now in fourth place, trying to get himself back in. He's definitely got the pace in the XV Racer car, but what he doesn't have at the moment is patience. He's trying to force every move here as 6 minutes have elapsed on the clock. He's got 9 minutes to get back up into second position, but the Rennsport boys are going to fight him tooth and nail, as they have had a very tumultuous awakening, I think is the right word to say, over the opening 12 rounds of the season. Round 13, no different. Well indeed. Johnny Brandon there in the magical fourth place, trying to chase down. He's got Dan Brown for company behind, but look at Adam McNally, though, for the moment, in seventh position at this stage in time, looking to get past Niels Carstensen for sixth place. McNally is up 6 places off of the start of this race. Someone else who's doing very well, up 6 places of his own, is Scott Malcolm, who is absolutely flying at the moment, in 10th place overall. Both of them making some great inroads here in the field. McNally now in the position to strike.
Yeah, in the meantime, Chris Danes has been through the pits, and I'm not surprised because he slammed the wall hard and then flipped over, and you don't tend to get away from that without any damage. McNally now to the outside of Carstensen, and wisely backing out of it, going for the switchback, although possibly backing out a bit too much there, because now he's under serious attack from Julian Janowski. So Janowski, well, I thought he'd be getting the run through the final corner, but McNally, I think, set himself up perfectly for it, and he's going to have another swipe at Carstensen towards turn 1. Carstensen goes defensive towards the outside line. This is where Carstensen got nudged off a few laps ago, keeps it within the lines this time, but McNally not giving up yet, keeping it on the inside. Going over the curb. My goodness, I tried that on someone once and ended up launching into the side of them, but McNally there has done it so much better and cleaner than that, and got through to take the position.
And he's done that because of the great heads-up driving by Niels Carstensen. He had to move out of the way, otherwise he was going to be in the wall on the outside on the left-hand side. He's done well to avoid incident there, and will need to get back quickly. Janowski just behind that as well will want to try and find some very quick positions in this point in time. Half distance already scored complete then in this race. It goes by quickly, these 15 minutes. You've got to make sure that you are in position to go out there and attack, as now Janowski looks to use the draft in his favour, looks to try and get through turn 9 alongside, and he thinks about the inside. There's no channel there. I'll go to the outside. That gives me the inside at turns 10A and 10B. Carstensen on the brakes he goes. Janowski's later though, but can you hold the speed through the corner? They bump once, they bump twice, 1 touch, 2 touch, red touch, blue touch, and around the outside they still fight towards turn 12.
Around the outside, Julian Janowski is still there. They need to make sure they don't end up making contact like we saw Danes and doing a few laps ago, and he's made it stick. So Janowski passes Niels Christensen onto the next lap, goes through to P7, and Carstensen has well, he's already started to drop back into the hands of Lundgren, Malcolm, Hedgecock, all of those drivers fighting through behind them. And this could end up being a much larger battle than we saw before.
Straight on goes Andrew Woodhouse then at turn 3. He just gets himself into the right-hand corner, misses the apex by a good car length, and then he needs to try and recover back, take a slow down penalty, and that puts him right in, oh goodness me, in the clutches of Andy Maxwell and the recovering Richard Haynes. Carl Hardy there in the back of that one for the Result Clothing team, trying to make that push, but here's Richard Haynes on the recovery, dives down the inside of Maxwell. Maxwell's going to fight it as a top driver in the amateur category standings, and that is very much a good move done, but running wide through 7 goes Richard Haynes, able to gather it up on the exit, but now they're allowing Andrew Woodhouse the opportunity to go and break away. Look back, though, to the battle. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th on the road here because Johnny Brandon has not given up. He's on the back of Robin Haase and Cedric Nebelshek, who cannot break away. Nicole Foggy clearly a class above with 4.5 minutes to go, but Nebelshek in trouble as he's got to use Haase to try and defend against Johnny Brandon.
So Nebelshek, Haase, and Brandon 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in this contact, and Brandon, that's Haase heavily into the barrier, and he is surely going to have suspension damage from that. I know that the Audis are units, but that was a hefty hit as cones go scattering in the background there, and it looks to me as if Haase is going to retire on the spot, is he?
He is.
Robin Haase, one of the main championship contenders, out of the race. That's drastic.
It's drastic, and it means that he will not be favoured in the reverse grid either, so it's an even longer day for Robin Haase. If you retire, you are in double trouble for the next race, and you've got to work twice as hard, but it gives Johnny Brandon then the podium that he has been searching for. And everyone jumps up a position. I'll be happy at the fact that they have jumped up that one extra position. It now moves Adam Hedgecock inside the top 10, but he's got to get past Scott Malcolm in 9th place, who's been driving absolutely wonderfully so far in his immortal car as he looks to try and make a push towards turns 10A and 10B. On the brakes they go. Does Adam Hedgecock dive down to the inside this time? Yes, he does, but does he have enough on him to slow it up? A lot of room being given there by Scott Malcolm. Very heads-up driving, and he's still got the position, but Hedgecock is going to get the up and under here down the inside at turns 11 and 12, so that's why you don't leave too much room on that inside. Now Hedgecock trying to get the power down, but on that inside he has to leave the room, and as such the run pretty much evaporate.
So this fight for 10th and 11th is now the fight for 9th and 10th due to the incident between Haase and Brandon. And I've just looked back at the replay, and to be honest, I don't really know what else Brandon was, what else Haase was supposed to do there. It was seriously unlucky. He got swiped from behind by Brandon, and the angle that he hit the barrier at as well, he went right into a part of the barrier that's being cut away for marshals to access. And as a result, much heftier damage was sustained than would have been if he'd struck a parallel concrete wall. So unfortunately, that is what ended Haase's race, and he's not going to be a big fan of Johnny Brandon after this one, as the fight between Malcolm and Hedgecock goes again onto the back straight, with Hedgecock catching, and I'd be surprised if he didn't challenge here.
Yep, and he's trying to challenge as Johnny Brandon's trying to get past Cedric Nebelshek as well. Remember, this is the 2nd time this season that Haase and Brandon have come together. They came together at Road America as well, and Johnny Brandon ended up with a non-finish because of that. Crucially, there is 2 laps to go. They're going to cross the line with about 10 seconds remaining at the end of this lap as McNally tries to fend off Janowski here, who's gone around the outside at turn 12, and he's got enough room, but he's on the outside again here at turn number 1. He's got to try and get this move sorted, but McNally is so good. The Toonside boy on the inside. He keeps the position, but they've allowed Carstensen in.
Carstensen, of course, on a recovery drive. He didn't drop too far down the order, but he's certainly further down than he feels he should be. And he will want to get past these guys as quickly as he possibly can, because we're getting close to the end of the race. In fact, I think we're only going to get one more lap after this one, if we even get that. As close to the barrier there goes Janowski, I think, and Carstensen right on their tail. So McNally, Janowski, and Carstensen is who we're watching. And I think that Carstensen is going to get a proper run out onto the straight here. He really lined that one up, but also Janowski has got an even better run on McNally here.
He certainly does, and he's kept very well close behind. I think Carstensen knows that double draft is not going to be helpful as one lap to go. The white flag will come out soon. Janowski goes to the outside then to try and make the move on McNally, who's later on the brakes, and it's McNally who's able to hold it down the inside, and he does a very good job of blocking off Janowski. Coming up the hill they go to 10A, 10B, and yes, it is very much the white flag lap. Keep an eye on Johnny Brandon as well in third position at the moment. He wants second off of Cedric Nebelshak, not only for the Drivers' Championship, but for the teams as well. Give a bit of help to Nicole Foggy as they head up through turn 2 into 3, and then the quick flick left of turn 4, and again it's through that section where Cedric Nebelshak is able to just stretch his legs and pull away. No changes in the group behind as they head over towards the turn 5 corner. We haven't seen any issues there so far today. A big heavy curb, and vehicles like these very much able to ride that section very, very neatly. Over to 6 and 7 though. This is where you set up the run through 8, 9 and get 10A and 10B and make the opportunity work for you. But again, Johnny Brandon, a couple car lengths back, needs a sterling run now coming out of this corner, and they were very even between them. So Brandon's got to do this one the hard way around as Nicole Foggy is already halfway down that straight towards a victory, which once again is very much deserved as they're 3 wide in the background, and Carstensen's got past both McNally and Janowski on the road. Fantastic work. Here's Johnny Brandon going to the outside now to try and get past Cedric Nebelshak, and Nebelshak has no answer to it. Has he gone too deep? Maybe he has. Nicole Foggy will round the final corner and will pick up the win here at Road Atlanta, round 13 of the championship. They're side by side for second down the hill, and it's going to be Nebelshak who will hold off Johnny Brandon for second and third. And behind that, it's Piccadilly Circus. Choose your moment. McNally fighting around the outside to try and get himself in. Janowski's trying to get the low line. Drag race to the line, and it is stolen by 1/100th of a second by Niels Carstensen.
Fantastic from Nebelshak there as well. He saw that he wasn't going to get it in the chicane from Johnny Brandon and cut straight back underneath him, and that is just so intelligent. Such level-headed driving, and exactly why he is the championship leader. Meanwhile, I believe Carstensen's just had a crash with someone after the finish line. Unfortunately, not the first time we've seen that happening this season. But whatever the case, fantastic from Nebelshak. But you have to say, Nicole Foggy there, absolutely unstoppable. Won by 6 seconds.
6 seconds the margin as official classified results are here for you right now. Nicole Foggy picks up the win in round 13 of the championship. Cedric Nebelshak holding off Johnny Brandon for second with some good driving down the hill to make sure he kept that place. Dan Brown, a very reserved +4 places to get to 4th place overall. Niels Carstensen gets a top 5, steals it by 1/100th of a second away from Adam McNally, with Julian Janowski in 7th and Robert Lundgren in 8th. Adam Hedgecock, though, gets 9th place, and he took it very late ahead of Scott Malcolm.
11th place goes the way of John Roberts, followed by Paul Burgess, Richard Haynes, who went off earlier on, then Carl Hardy, Ashley Beard, Andrew Woodhouse, Andy Maxwell, Adam Bath, then Martin Sampson, and Sean Gardner from the pits, or from the back, sorry.
Well, Lee Deemer gets 21st position, up 3 places overall. Kip Stevens was involved in the lap 1 incident with Ashley Beard. He drops back to 22nd overall for the Momo team. Chris Danes 23rd, with Dean Timms on his debut in 24th position. Lord Murray and Dan Blake are 25th and 26th, with Michael Bingham in base 27th and 28th. 29th place would go to Carl Jacquelet. He's the last finisher on the leading lap. Robin Haase can only manage 30th place, a lap down, with Jim Flanagan and Peter Van Gool 31st and 32nd. Not taking, though, to the start was Charles Kellyman with technical issues and Daniel James as well. As at this point, we're going to do something called spinning a spinny wheel. And what we'll do after we spin that wheel is we'll get a grid reverse for you, ladies and gentlemen. The reverse grid is coming up for you right now, and that number determines who starts where. Looking for an answer, and the answer is 30. It took a little while there, but 30 is what we've got. So that's going to be pretty good. I'm not sure if Haase can take the pole position because of the fact that he is one lap down. So it may just be that Carl Jacquelet gets himself that pole position. But we're going to step aside here with Forever Sim Racing. We'll be back with round 14 of the championship, the first reverse grid of the night, after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the British Sim Racers TCR Sunday Cup here on Forever Sim Racing. It's Jake Sperry here in the commentary booth, joined alongside with Caitlin Penny, Marco Barbanera on the cameras, brought to you by Dougie Beard. To those who get it done for us, Forcex Designs for the graphics that you have seen up on your screen. They have been fantastic, along with Violet and her music, which you have heard. You can catch all of that on her Bandcamp as well as on Spotify as well. All of this on Forever Sim Racing. But race 2 of the night, round 14 of the championship, and the first reverse grid race, and it's a full reverse grid in essence because of the fact that only 29 drivers finish on the leading lap. So this is going to be a big challenge for drivers to get back through the field. And we have seen how Nebelshek has been the better driver at piecing away through traffic. We might see something very similar here today at Road Atlanta. But Caitlin, your thoughts, as we have seen this is the Nebelshek territory where he does so well.
Well, you say that, but Nicole Foggy seemed pretty much unbeatable in the last race there. Absolutely fantastic pace, and we know that Nebelshek does come through fields well. Although if Nicole Foggy has quite that much pace, where he can take pole so convincingly and then win by 6.2 seconds as well, he's going to take some beating. I'm not expecting him to win this race because he will have to start from P30 on the grid. So it would take quite something for him to come through from the to win the race. However, I am expecting him to put in his best showing, and providing they can dodge the traffic, dodge the back markers, I think he stands every chance of gaining some points back on his championship rivals. So definitely look out for Foggy, but also look out for Nebelshek, who we know comes through the traffic well. And also look out for Johnny Brannan, because he has proved very brave, quite aggressive so far today. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets really stuck in the opening stages here.
Aggressive to what detriment? There could be a penalty coming
Totally.
in for him after what happened in that opening race of the evening. So we'll keep an eye out on that as racing action will continue here today into this second race of the evening. But this is the big challenge that drivers are facing here, because the opening part of the lap is not an overtaking style set, and you are very much bottled up, and you have to be very aggressive with how you make those moves, and also very patient because you can't make them in the early stages. You're pretty much waiting for turns 6 and 7, turns 10A and 10B, and turn 1 to make the moves. If you can't make them there, then you are very much sitting and waiting. This is a draft-favored track. You also have to stay within a second of the driver in front of you. Otherwise, it's going to be doubly difficult here, Caitlin, to go and make the move. As we find ourselves just a minute away. We just lose Caitlin there for a second there, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry.
Apologies about that, but welcome.
Sorry, I was on mute.
Oh, well, that's helpful.
Yeah, I did a full race on mute once, not too long ago. But anyway, thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, I was just going to say it's quite difficult to overtake in these cars without a little bit of contact or argy-bargy, because of course everyone is in the same car, meaning they're all in the same machinery. And while you can use the slipstream to your advantage down the long back straight, if you don't pull it there, you're going to have to fight for it at the other points on the circuit. We've seen drivers going for quite silly moves sometimes through the final corner, up into turn 1, up into the S's, and sometimes also into turn 6 or 7. Although if you pull it into turn 6 or 7, you risk losing out in the slipstream for the long straight as well. So it does come at a detriment a lot of the time. And as a result, it's all about doing it as cleanly as you can, while also being aggressive.
And you've got to be aggressive because time is done in practice. This is your very quick qualifying grid, as Robin Haase will be on pole position, Carl Jacquelet second, Ethan Bass in third position. It's Michael Bingham and Dan Blake fourth and fifth, Lorne Murray from 16, Timms in seventh, Chris Danes, Kip Stevens, and Lee Deemer round out the top 10. Sean Gardner starts 11th, Martin Sampson 12th, and it's Adam Barth, Andy Maxwell, Andrew Woodhouse, and Ashley Beard, Carl Hardy, Paul Burgess from 18th, with John Robertson, Scott Malcolm rounding the top 20. You got Adam Hedgecock, Robert Lundgren, Julian Janowski, Adam McNally, Niels Carstensen, Dan Brown, Johnny Brandon, Cedric Nebelshek, Nicole Foggy, Jim Flanagan, and Charles Kellyman will start this one from the back 31st on the grid for Charles Kellyman. So we'll see how that one plays out in the long run, but they've only got a minute to get themselves gridded up. Robin Haase, a great chance to get back here in this race. He's on the front and has the ability to break away early. Who will chase him down will be the big question, and it's a case of everyone fighting for minor positions potentially. Lights on top of the iRacing gantry. Round 14 of the championship finds itself very much underway, and Robin Haase, good start, slow starts though behind, as look at that, it's going to be Lorne Murray who gets the best of the lot. He's already up into 4th position, trying to get through. One of the Brits, the Simtech cars are doing brilliantly, the Brittech Simsport cars there, as the year 1 vehicles there. Ethan Bass in 2nd now, Carl Jackalette now into 3rd as Lorne Murray tries to find his way onto the podium. That's Dan Blake trying to fight it out with Chris Danes, and no luck there as they file their way through the opening section for the second time. One car goes straight on and another one goes straight on. It's sliding all over the place in the middle of the pack as they try and find a way through. I think they just survived. One upside down though, and that's not a plan at all that people were looking for, as there's troubles for Dean Timms as well. Everything seemingly kicking off the start.
And a wonderful move from Lorne Murray up to 2nd place, round the outside of Ethan Bass, I believe, almost mooring the lawn, no pun intended, as he went slightly over the grass on the inside, but made it stick. Now Carl Jackalette is up the inside of Ethan Bass as well, and it looks as if he's going to pull that off, and he's going to get a little push from behind in terms of the airflow as well, by, I'm not sure quite who that is.
3 wide.
Sorry?
3 wide. Let's go 3 wide with Jackalette, Bass, and Danes very much the quicker driver down on the inside. That will turn to the outside, so Ethan Bass has got to pick a braking point here, and he decides wisely to slot in. Chris Danes around the outside comfortably gets the move done, as Robin Haase will lead the opening lap, but as they head into 10A, 10B, they're all searching for moves and positions. Ashley Beard is one of them, trying to get down the inside of John Roberts, as is Lee Deemer trying to get down the inside of Michael Bingham, and those are 2 positions almost done. John Roberts able to hold on to his move as Adam Hedgecock now decides he wants to get in on the action, move away down the inside, and can he get the move sorted? Yes, he very much can, as they is slow down there for Lorne Murray. Oh no! There's drama as Murray's in the fence. One of the year 1 cars in the fence. Well, I think that's Jackalette. Yes, it is. And that's going to be disaster for the pair of them trying to get back in. They're now demoted right to the back of the train.
That's gutting for Murray, because he made such an amazing, best starts I've ever seen in this league. But it appears that him and Jackalette have come together. I'm not quite sure why Murray was going so slowly there. He resumes to the race, although he's going to be a long way back. However, for Robin Haase, starting that far back due to his incident in race 1, I think it was always going to be his race to lose, although he does slightly run over the grass a bit there. Kind of confused as to why he was able to start on pole, since I'm pretty sure he didn't finish the race, but behind they're battling.
Oh, it's a big one. There's a huge incident. Hardy involved, as was Julian Janowski there. In the midst of that, getting through it all was Nicole Foggy. This happened right in front of Carstensen and co, and that was never going to be easy. A great save from Dan Brown as well to keep it out of the wall as they make their way to 10A and 10B. All of this, though, Cedric Nebelshek's making positions. He's down the inside of Robert Lundgren now, and he gets the move done, but Johnny Brand's behind. The vehicle spins in the background. That's one of the Excite Energy cars, and that is not ideal for Adam McNally, the Tombside boy, in the fence, and that one is going to be a long day to get back for him to move forward. But keep an eye out on battles going on. Kip Stevens and Lee Deemer for 5th place is off in the background. There goes Michael Bingham. He goes too far in turn 1, and he'll lose a handful of spots for his troubles.
Yeah, down the order goes Michael Bingham there, still fighting as they go through the S's. and he is right down in the pack, so we'll see where he's ended up at the end of this lap. Meanwhile, we still got a fight for second, third, fourth between Danes, Base, and Blake. Danes will hope to run away here because he was one of the drivers affected in race 1, although Base versus Blake is still furious for P3, and I'm expecting that Blake will have a serious attack down into the chicane this time around. Also in the background, Stevens and Dima is that going at it with each other. Not sure that it is. Oh, it is Dima.
Yeah.
Okay.
But look just behind them, Sean Gardner and Ashley Beard side by side. Scott Malcolm and Cedric Nebelchek side by side. Noah's Ark to 9 and 10. And now Lee Dima thinks about going on the noisy pedal, trying to dive down the inside in front of that. So Lee Dima gets his move done on the inside. He's very happy. Behind that, though, Gardner's going to fight all the way. Has he gone too far over the curb? Yes, he has. Has to slow down penalty. Takes the wide line. Nebelchek gets a freebie. Cookies, that's mine. And now Ashley Beard next up in terms of pressure cooker moments as they now make their way through the final corner, immediately thinking of going defensive. Nebelchek makes the move down to the inside. Can he get it sorted on the brakes in turn 1? Well, Ashley Beard's going to fight him all the way, but on that outside line, he's got to go careful about hitting the grass. He doesn't, but he loses the position in worry. So Nebelchek is swarming his way through the field. His rival Foggy is a good 8 car lengths back, or 8 vehicles back even.
Nebelchek there has made a wonderful start. He's already up into 9th position from 28th on the grid, and that's what we often see from Nebelchek. He makes his way through.
Look at Dan Blake.
Yeah, going to the outside of Ethan Base there, holding on around the outside. It's slightly banked there through turn 6, so you can often do so, but turn 7, a little bit less so, very flat over towards the grass, and he's made it stick somehow. Now Base will have the slipstream and will attempt to come back at him, so Blake will go from being the hunter to being the hunted, and will have to defend here, going down towards the chicane. He'll want to be on the left-hand side of the road to try to get ahead before the before the next corner, but it looks to me as if Base has got through, and exactly as I predicted, gets through before the right-hander and makes it stick. Is in the background where we've got a almost four wide gaggle. Dima, Stevens, Roberts, Hedgecock all going at it, and Hedgecock
Roberts
they're sweeping through.
John Roberts has got the bit between his teeth. He's gone through everyone as Nebelchek joins the back of the train. Adam Hedgecock thought about going around the outside of Kip Stevens. He's got to keep the nose in as he looks to battle almost at half distance. That's at the end of next lap.
Oh, Blake and Base have come together. Blake has spun across the road.
He spun it. Absolutely right there, Caitlin. Still battling with Ethan Base, he was, as they headed through turn 3. Base, just not enough room left there on that inside for Dan Blake. Nowhere to go. Has to do the 1,000,000-point turn to get back on track, and that is going to hurt him in terms of his chances. Nebelchek is through on Adam Hedgecock, but crucially enough, another position for Nebelchek to try and chase down Nicole Foggy in terms of points.
Well, I'm glad he did do that complicated turn, because otherwise he'd have rejoined straight into the path of these fighting championship contenders and race contenders. Nebelchek certainly wouldn't have been able to avoid it if he'd gone shooting straight back onto the track again. So pretty sensible there, didn't let his head get the better of him. Here comes Nebelchek now on Adam Hedgecock. He's side by side with him down the straight. Kip Stevens, in fact, as in front of them, we've got Demo going side by side with Roberts. Roberts holding the inside line as Nebelchek did manage to make the move stick there.
A very good move, and therefore Kip Stevens behind. He loses one, but look how immediately Nebelchek goes aggressive again, looking all over the back of Lee Dima, who does like a good defense, and is going to push him there through the corner right at the very end. Thinking about the inside, gets back in the toe, get a little bit more. Dive to the inside once again from Nebelchek, and it's always a masterclass to see him make moves, and he makes another one stick there, as now Ashley Beard's on the back of this train. Gardner, Malcolm, Johnny Brandon, very much stuck behind Scott Malcolm at the moment. Can't find a way through, nor can Niels Carstensen. And Nicole Foggy is a very long way back now. He's back in 21st position, and that's not going to be helpful at all for him. He's a long way back and not making positions, as in front of them, Paul Burgess tries to get around Janowski, just about holds him off. And we said he's a very tough character to get by, as Michael Bingham goes off in front of them as well. There's a position for both of them.
Foggy's still behind Carl Jacqueline, who went off earlier, so I'd expect him to be much higher up, if not, but I suppose that's my fault for cursing him. Whatever the case, still, Bingham fighting through with the other drivers that he was surrounded by when he went off. Janowski about to pass Burgess for 18th position. These are the moves going on further down in the order, but closer to the front. Still Nebelshek challenging John Roberts for 4th and goes through. Nicely done.
Oh, and the door open there for Lee Deemer, ever the ultimate opportunist, trying to dive down the inside, but John Roberts, the gentleman, having none of it there, and he says, "No, sir, you cannot find a way through. You must try a different way," as he thinks about trying to keep himself in position at the moment. Johnny Brandon's got by Scott Malcolm. Can Niels Carstensen soon follow? Not into turn 1, you can't. Not just yet. Ashley Beard in front of them, though, trying to get around Kip Stevens. Always very difficult to get past Kip. As and when he decides he wants to fight, and he does want to fight with the Excite Energy driver, and as such, there's no chance of Ashley Beard finding a way through the S's section.
So up through the S's again, still Beard challenging on the back of Kip Stevens. As it stands, they both run wide, but not quite into the grass, as Gardner now coming under severe attack. Brandon, who once again has been aggressive, but not as hard charging as I thought that he may be. Certainly, Cedric Nebelshak still clearly the hardest charger in the field so far. Although Adam Hedgecock as well, doing a great job of jumping up the order, 21st to 7th. Now here comes Brandon down the straight, and I'd be surprised if he didn't get Gardner here, because it kinked slightly to the right. He's on the inside for that. He's going to be taking the shortest path through to 10th place.
Well, can he get him on the brakes, as Sean Gardner's going to fight him, or he's going to fight him back, as Ashley Beard, just in front of that, gets past Kip Stevens. In the background, there's Carstensen getting by Scott Malcolm, and crucially, Sean Gardner loses out to Johnny Brandon, so a very comfortable move then as he moves up one more position as 4.5 minutes left on the clock. Cedric Nebelshek has found Ethan Bass in the battle for the podium. There is 2 vehicles trying to get themselves up through the order. One of them at the moment is Nebelshek. The other, of course, is Johnny Brandon, but there's 2 BritTech SimSport cars on the podium at the moment. It could be 2 Rensport Online cars on the podium if they're thinking about it properly. Nebelshek swarming around, trying to get at turn 5. He breaks a lot earlier, trying to open the corner at turn 6. Ethan Bass really struggling at the moment with the pressure that Nebelshek is applying. Welcome to your first race in BSR TCR. You're up against the championship leader, son, as you get on the brakes into turn 6. A good defensive line, but the pocket is open, and Nebelshek says, "Thank you very much. I'm going to finally take what is well deserved."
But once again, he's going to be, very nearly forcing Bass onto the grass there. He's going to be, well, acting as a wind block, taking all of that air for his rivals behind. Very nice of him, very kind, very sporting. But through now comes Ethan Bass to the outside of the next corner. He's going to be ahead by the braking zone. And Nebelshak, how brave is he going to be here? Well, not brave enough, because Bass has taken it. Slight touch from behind from Roberts. And it looks like he might get mugged by 2 drivers here, unless he can hold on for an extremely brave move around the outside. Yeah, that was not going to happen. And drops in behind Roberts. Has to do it all over again, and might get passed by Deemer in the process.
He's got to be careful, but look at that, Nebelshek. The best defense is a good offense. Down the inside, rubs paddles there with John Roberts and gets the move back. So getting frustrated a little bit now is Cedric Nebelshek. He can't find a way through here on Ethan Bass. Next up is going to have to be the big move. He's got no chance of catching Chris Danes in second. Robin Harser is away with the Fairies 5 seconds down the road. Nebelshek needs the podium, because behind that, Johnny Brandon is catching the back of the train, and Ashley Beard and co. Where is Nicole Foggy at the moment in all of this? He's got past Paul Burgess, so he's back in 18th place, and he's got to try and catch Julian Janowski by the end of this one. So all eyes to Ethan Bass, who is really putting on a sterling defensive drive at the moment as they head down the hill towards 10A and 10B.
It really is true that the best offense is defense. That's why Ethan Bass is still ahead of Cedric Nebelshek and possibly even the rest of this train as well. At this point in time, he's now going to come under attack again. This time it's the other way round how it was a lap ago, but again, Base is going to be slightly ahead in the braking zone, and again, he'll feel entitled to the corner, he'll take the corner, and once again, Roberts gives Nebelchik a tap. Nebelchik has to floor it to keep it pointing in the right direction, and he is going to get mugged by the rest of the train behind. Choo Choo coming through. You're dropping back, my friend.
You are, and it's 2 laps to go by only a handful of seconds as Johnny Brandon taps his way past Ashley Beard, and it's a big recovery once again. Ethan Bates held on, but that was Nebelchik getting too cute with John Roberts behind, who was always going to take that position. Roberts, all 4 wheels on the grass, trying to find a way past Ethan Bates. He's not finding it at the moment as Lee Deemer now will try and get on the back. Adam Hedgecock there too. This is a fantastic podium scrap where Ethan Bates is pretty much saying you've got all the treble in the world if you're going to try and get away past me, as he takes all of the curb coming up the hill at magical turn number 5. Robin Haase in control of this field will make sure that there will be another lap left to go as they will get themselves over to the start-finish line. But now it's a case of the waiting game. Who is in the right position to go and make this move? Who can make themselves a very good opportunity at picking up a big victory? Janowski, though, under pressure because Nicole Foggy has got past both Sampson and Lundgren, and now that moves him up into 16th place on the road. Janowski will be next. Niels Carstensen trying to find a way past Sean Gardner late in the day. Crucial for the team's championship that RSO scores some points, because behind him is Dan Brown. He's trying to keep himself out, and there's a little bit of drama, a little bit in front. They're side by side. John Roberts around the outside. Then Noah Zark here as they go through turn 12 with the white flag out and 1 lap to go. They start swarming around each other. The Nebelchik goes 3 wide. Brandon gives him no room at all. On the brakes, they go into turn 1. Brandon gets turned almost. I'm not surprised there. Hedgecock holding on the outside. Ethan Bates drops to 5th with John Roberts there in 3rd. More contact between Brandon and the Nebelchik gets turned this time by, and that was foul play as they go through, and the Nebelchik's championship lead is all but dashed, as through will go the likes of Scott Malcolm, and there goes Nicole Foggy through in this mix as well, here in the battle for 3rd place, which John Roberts still holds. Deemer, Bates, Hedgecock, Brandon, Beard and Stevens all there as they go on through. Chris Danes, Robin Haase, though, are 1st and 2nd and away with the Fairies as they continue to push. There doesn't look like there's going to be many chances left to make a move. Only 10 HMB seems to be the proving ground for many drivers to go out there and get what they deserve. But for Robin Haase, he's only got 4 corners to go on the brakes into 10A, and then at the right of 10B. It was disaster in race 1 when he came a cropper with Johnny Brandon. His teammate and title rival did so here in race 2, but he takes maximum advantage as he falls through turn 12 and wins this round 14 race. His 2nd of the season. Chris Danes will get 2nd. For 3rd, though, it is going to be John Roberts holding on towards the end, but Lee Deemer gets in the grass, and this is going to allow Bates to dive down the inside as Johnny Brandon tries to get past another driver as well. That's Adam Hedgecock, but Deemer holds on, and Johnny Brandon steals it away from Adam Hedgecock there as they come to the line. Nebelchik can only manage himself a 15th place finish come the end of that, and drops more points to Nicole Foggy.
Drama for Nebelchik, and I've been describing him all day as fairly level-headed, but you have to say he kind of lost his head a bit there. Of course, Brandon wasn't really giving him that much room. He was being aggressive in defense. But to be honest, if I was Nebelchik, I wouldn't have gone for that one. He saw that they were going to have to go 3 wide. And well, that was never going to work. So if I was him there, I'd have backed off and conserved the points, possibly gone for it down the straight. Realistically, it's a racing incident, but I wouldn't have put myself in that situation at all if I was him. Anyway, great drive from Robin Haase. 2 races in a row. He's driven excellently. Last time, of course, retired, but it wasn't his fault, and he'd been driving wonderfully up until that point, and fully deserves that win, I'd say. 5.5 seconds in it. Nicely done from Robin Haase.
Picks up the win, of course, in 16 minutes and 24 seconds with official classified results. John Roberts gets a well-deserved podium. He was part of the Nebelchik problem, though, always being greedy at 10B, trying to pick up the move, and he got what he needed there. Lee Deemer gets 4th with Ethan Bates. Arguably deserved the podium more than anybody else in this field, but ultimately could not hold off everyone behind. It's only a 5th place for him, with Johnny Brandon in 6th place, making controversial contact with another Rennsport online vehicle. Adam Hedgecock will get 7th place, with Ashley Beard in 8th. Kip Stevens will get 9th place overall as Niels Carstensen rounds out the top 10.
11th place is Daniel Brown, followed by Nico Foggy, who did end up gaining quite a few places in the end and all of that. So I do wonder whether it had an incident further on which balked his progress towards the start of the race. 13th was Julian Janowski, followed by Robert Lundgren, then Cedric Nebelsiak after that incident towards the end of the race, and he's going to be gutted with that. And to be honest, I think he's got to learn from that mistake. Meanwhile, Martin MJ Sampson, down in 16th position, followed by Paul Burgess, Dan Blake, Lorne Murray, and Carl Jackalat, who could have fought for podium places potentially, but got shunted off at the start.
I just caught an eye on what happened to Nico Foggy. It was on lap 4, and it was contact between 3 drivers. It was with Robert Lundgren himself and Michael Bingham. Bingham moved across. Lundgren nowhere to go. Ultimately taps Nico Foggy, and he gets turned around. It cost him 10 seconds over the course of that race, and that's why he was so far down the order in 12th place overall. 21st would go to said Michael Bingham with Adam Bath. 22nd, Charles Kellyman gets 23rd, starting from dead last, with 24th going to Adam McNally, who spun in the early stages. Sean Gardner gets 25th, with Scott Malcolm in 26th. Dean Timms, Andy Maxwell, Carl Hardy, and Andrew Woodhouse round out the top 30. Andrew Woodhouse failed to finish, as did Jim Flanagan, and we'll get the reverse grid wheel out for final time tonight, because round 15, of course, is a feature, a double-length 30-minute race, and we'll see where the wheel spins, how this is going to stack up for the final grid of the night. It's a 10-car reverse grid, so we are 4 for 5. It's back. It's a 10-car reverse grid here, ladies and gentlemen. 4 times in 5 races. We're going to step aside for one moment. We'll be back with more after this.
alarm.
Welcome back, ladies and gents, to the British Sim Racers TCR Sunday Cup here live on Forever Sim Racing. Jake Sperry, it's Caitlin Penny, it's Marco Barbanero on cameras, brought to you by Dougie Beard, and it's absolutely fantastic racing that we are seeing here this evening. Of course, a big shout out to Force X Design, who have been instrumental with the graphics you see on screen today, as well as, of course, Violet, her music catch on Bandcamp and also on Spotify as well. All of this on Forever Sim Racing. It's a 30-minute race that we are having next to finish off the night's racing to end round 15. I soon to be focusing to the Barcelona circuit, which has been tested a lot over the last 6 weeks or so, because, Caitlin, Barcelona, the brand new track on the iRacing service, everyone very happy with the way that that's turned out, and everybody wants to prove that at the brand new track, they have that advantage be a full Grand Prix layout too, so a long lap means a lot could happen. But here, they've got to make sure that they get Road Atlanta right first.
Yeah, of course, both Road Atlanta and Barcelona, very, very different tracks, but both tracks that they'll want to do well at. Of course, the Barcelona Grand Prix circuit is a classic Grand Prix circuit. It's pretty much what you think of when you think of racetrack. Whereas here at Road Atlanta, you have a much more grassroots kind of punishing circuit. The only place where you'll find a runoff area here at all is the little escape road you have down at the final corner. But unfortunately for these drivers, the chances are that if you go off there, you tend to not make it to the runoff area because you're either skittling across the grass or bouncing across the gravel into the tire barrier. So really, there's no room for error here, and if you run wide, you're gonna run very, very wide, and probably also reach the tire wall. Barcelona a little bit less dangerous than that, but that can often lure drivers into a false sense of security and force them to fight more between each other, have a little bit more bang, crash, and wallop because they feel that they can get away with it, and as a result, there's often a little bit more dirty driving at circuits like that. So we'll have to wait and see what Barcelona throws up in 2 weeks' time. But for now, Road Atlanta, perfect track to test these TCRs on.
Is, and of course, time in sim has gone into the evening. It's 7:15 in the evening, which means that these tyres are going to be a lot colder, a lot tough to get up to temperature. The track temp only 22 degrees at the moment, so this is going to be a very difficult challenge with drivers on cold tyres trying to get a good start together, which sometimes can very easily make you fall a cropper, as Ashley Beard just proves the point as he spins and has himself his own little moment as he I believe just had himself a little trip into the grass and oopsie daisy, round you go, goodbye, and I'll take my reset and try and get myself back going again. But Caitlin, the big talk has to come into Nebelshek. Was he too aggressive in race 2? And now how does he rectify that for race 3, where he's got to find a way past Nicole Foggy, who's the fastest man on track?
Well, if speaking from a steward's point of view, and I'm not a steward in this league, but I am in various other leagues, I don't think that Nebelshek did anything penalisable. I think that the reason I criticised him was not because the incident was his fault, but because really I don't think he should have been there. I don't think he was going to gain anything out of it, and I just think it was a bit over the top from Nebelshek, shall we say. I also don't think it was Johnny Brandon's fault. I just think that you can't really fit 3 drivers into to that part of the course. And in terms of how Nebelshek rectifies that, I think he's just got to learn from that and keep a level head, which we know he can do because he was doing so well at precisely that in the other rounds that we've seen so far today. So I think, just keep cool, remind himself that he's leading the championship, and although Foggy is gaining back some points today, still he knows that he has the advantage both psychologically and on the track at this point in time. Keep cool.
Well, we've got to see how that turns up here in this final race. Practice is all but done. We will take you to a 1-minute condensed grid then in just a moment's time. Round 15 of the championship for 30 minutes. Always a much different prospect as you look to try and push and try and make sure you get good points and as many points as you possibly can. Niels Carstensen will start on the pole position with Kip Stevens alongside. Ashley Beard will start from 3rd with Adam Hedgecock in 4th. Johnny Brandon and Ethan Bass are 5th and 6th. Lee Deemer 7th. John Roberts 8th. Chris Danes 9th. Robin Haase starts from 10th. From there, Dan Brown, Nicole Foggy, row 6 for them. Row 7 is Janoski and Lundgren. Then Nebelshek in 15th. Sampson, Burgess, Blake, Murray, and Jacqueline around the top 20, followed then by Michael Bingham, Adam Bath, Charles Kellyman, Adam McNally, Sean Gardner, Scott Malcolm, Dean Timms, Andy Maxwell, Carl Hardy, Andrew Woodhouse, and Jim Flanagan makes the 31 with 1 minute to get yourselves up onto the grid. A small reverse grid, 10 for the 4th time in 5 feature races. It's a 10-car reverse grid, and this is going to be a huge challenge for all of these drivers try and make that push. What will Niels Carstensen do at the front? What will the likes of Kip Stevens do at the front as the green flag drops and 30 minutes are immediately put on the clock? It's slow from the fourth row there from one of the Excite Energy cars. That will be Lee Diemer, who gets swarmed around. Chris Danes takes the Ryan Hunter-Ray route to go around the outside. Carstensen's good off the line, as is John Roberts trying to fight 3 wide around at turn number 1 and try and get the moves done. Beard in second will be happy with where he is. Johnny Brandon already up to third past Kip Stevens as they go into turns 2, 3, and 4 for the very first time. Where is Nebelshek and Foggy going to be fighting it out? The answer is, for the moment, that they're all trying to make some positions. Nebelshek already attacking Chris Danes down the inside to get the move that he wants, and just like that, some very, very clean racing through the S's.
Carstensen up into the lead. We've had a slight back, I think Murray that was, again across the lawn. Sorry, recycling a pun there, but whatever the case, Carstensen still, he's been attacked for the lead, and who's taken it? Is that Ashley Beard?
It is. It absolutely is. So Ashley Beard then moves to the front of the field as behind. Nicole Foggy's going to dive down the inside of the gentleman John Roberts and get the position. He's already by Robin Haase, which is good news as everyone's thinking, but where on earth has Cedric Nebelshek gone? He's lost a whole heap of time, and he went straight on at turn 6. He was fighting with Dan Brown, missed the apex at 6, couldn't drag it back at turn 7 either. He's all the way to the back of the field, trying to find himself a way through. That's not going to help. Side by side for the race lead, though, as Ashley Beard comes under pressure. Carstensen trying to get to the inside. Johnny Brandon's there waiting. It's a log jam as they look to go through turn 12, but crucially, Ash Beard still has it, and here's Johnny Brandon. Will he get the trifecta of taking out 3 Rennsports Online cars? For the moment, he does not, but he's got the inside here for turn number 1. Who's the later on the brakes? It was Johnny Brandon. Little bit of a touch between them, but Carstensen still trying to hold on. Oh, and Carstensen turns Brandon! My word!
Yeah, I'm afraid I have to say that's karma for race 1 there. John Brandon being tipped off in a very Johnny Brandon-like way. But anyway, as he tries to find a gap, he's going to be losing all sorts of time. Someone else is also up there and has to go the long way round to avoid him. And he's now going on, and something's happening to Foggy.
Foggy's in the wall! Foggy's in the fence! What happened there? Nicole Foggy was fighting with Niels Carstensen, and just like that, it was coming across, and I believe it was the Bricktech Simsport car there of Ethan Bass, who was trying to get as much road as possible. The two came together, and Foggy's in the fence, and he's out.
Very, very big shame for Foggy. It looked to me as if he was set to pull points back on Nebelshek in all 3 races here today, but that doesn't appear to be the case here. In fact, Kip Stevens now is side by side again with Niels Carstensen for 2nd position now as they head towards, and Carstensen gets it before the corner. So Carstensen stays in 2nd for this lap. As further back, there's cars going side by side, 2 by 2 into the chicane and getting through. So as we cross the line again, it's still Ashley Beard leading from Carstensen, Carstensen, Stevens, then Bass and Hedgecock up into to P5, and the rest of them stream through behind.
And look at what this does for the championship, all of this. Robin Haase, who had a poor race 1, all 3 title contenders have been involved in an incident at some point during this race meeting. So this is a huge game changer. What can Nebelshek do? He's got to get as many points as possible and get back to Robin Haase, who's now got to get past John Roberts as quickly as possible. It's all change at the moment, and the front 4 are still fighting it out. Ashley Beard leads this one, but look at Ethan Bass trying to attack Kip Stevens here down the inside at turn 6. He's not going to quite find the move there, but the crucial fact is there's half an hour to try and make these moves, and already a good 4 minutes have been locked off the clock. But soon it's 10A, 10B again, and this is where everyone decides it's time to make some moves.
Here we go, moves galore, up and coming. In fact, Beard is not getting away from Niels Carstensen here. Carstensen still in the slipstream, as further back we have cars going side by side already. Not quite, actually. As we head towards the braking zone, surely we're going to see cars making moves. We got Danes on Diemer nearly, and no change there just yet, but they're right alongside Janowski, who didn't get the best of runs out of the chicane there. Dane's around the outside. This is a corner that he doesn't really like from race 1. He's a little bit more cautious through there, understandably, this time than he was in that race 1. Stays 11th for the time being, but still attacking Diemer.
Still attacking, but that was crucially all because Janowski got sideways at 10A, had to gather it back up at turn 10B, but it is a train of 8 at the front of the field. At the back of it is Dan Brown, and then you've got a mini sub-pack of 3 trying to stay with it. That's Janowski, Dima, and Danes all there together, but for the time being, keep an eye out, though, on Robin Haase. He still cannot find a way through on John Roberts, who's having a fantastic race meeting by his standards. He got a win in pre-season at the media day. He hasn't been able to find that form since, but this may just be the chance with a field so condensed as this. Ashley Beard has not shown brilliant pace, got the lead, but he's high in the championship, which means he can certainly drive a vehicle. And if he's got to hold off a train of 8 for half an hour, if anyone can, it might just be Ashley Beard. Here's Niels Carstensen, who's going to have to go the long way round to try and make this move then in the battle for the race lead. He'll look to the outside to try and make that one happen as they hit the brakes. Ashley Beard's going to try and fight this one all the way through on that inside line, but there's no room on the outside. Carstensen leads.
Wonderful move from Carstensen. Very brave to hold it around the outside. A lot of drivers would have thought that it was impossible and gone for the switchback instead, and I don't think that would have worked for Carstensen. So he's done a good job to do what he did, and Beard now will be under attack from Kip Stevens as they head up through turn 1 as well. Look in the background as well, as is that Roberts going side by side with Haas? It was. So that's for 6th and 7th place. Someone going slightly, Roberts going slightly wide there into the S's, managing to hook it in before he lost too much time, and it's a proper snake through there. Look at that, ducking and weaving. It's almost like they're connected via a chain.
It very much is almost like it's tow bar racing at the moment. Everyone's stuck on the tow bar. Janowski's on the back of the train. Lee Dima has been dropped, and McNally will want to try and find himself a way through. He's just made the mistakes today as McNally, which hasn't allowed him any opportunity to go out there and really be aggressive. But once again, the train finds itself going through towards 10A and 10B once more. Behind that, though, Cedric Nebelshek trying to get by Dan Blake, the man with a crooked finger now, so to speak, as he looks to have his battle and go through, as he looks to go to the outside to try and make this one happen. Dan Blake in all sorts of trouble. He's got no draft on that inside line, but very much I think it's going to be Nebelshek now trying to make that move and trying to get it sorted, and sorted he does as he gains the position. As there's troubles for Lee Dima, he gets all squirrely and sideways and loses 2 positions for his troubles.
So through go Danes and McNally, the biggest gainer in this race, from 24th up to P11, and he's challenging for 10th as well, already caught up to the back of Chris Danes in all of this, and he's probably going to be right on the back of the chain for the lead in no time whatsoever. Robin Haas there challenging Roberts, although thinking better of it up into the S's. That's where he went off in race 1. As further ahead, Ashley Beard still holding off Kip Stevens, but once again they're all on a tow rope heading through the end of the S's and up towards turn 6 and 7. And I was very surprised to see that none of these people changed places last time around. I'm expecting quite a few changes this time.
They know that if they decide to go out there and make the move, they could lose the train, and it falls on Ethan Bass right now because Adam Hedgecock is tucked underneath with a half a car length between them, and now might start thinking about making the move early. He'll have no draft on that inside, but hoping that turn 9 is going to sweep into his favour. He's stuck at the moment. He can't get anything more out of his Audi RS3 as he makes the power move on the outside, trying to get this one sorted. Can Ethan Bass hold this off? Where's John Roberts going? He thought about the inside, the 2 boosted cars almost coming together, and there is Robin Haase thinking about a half chance to make the move. He's got to cover Dan Brown behind, and does so there as they stay where they are. But the top 3 now, a little respite, a little breakaway at the moment. Exactly what they were thinking as Paul Burgess gets overtaken by Cedric Nebelshek over the course of this lap. Here comes Haase down the inside in turn 1. Contact with John Roberts, who tried to shut the door, is run out of road, and just like that, here's Dan Brown, looking a bit more like Darren Brown, because it's a magician making the move. Contact with Janowski. Round goes John Roberts.
Yeah, Roberts, I'm afraid, not getting away with it well. Probably should have left off brakes there and tried to swing the car around. He's going to drop. That's Dan Blake who's just gone through, so he's dropped down to at least 17th position in all of that. Here comes Adam Buff as well, so a big problem for John Roberts in all of that. and that's a big shame. Although if you try to go side by side into the S's, that does tend to happen, unfortunately. Meanwhile,
Nally
Carstensen,
through.
sorry.
Nally's just got through. He's just got by Chris Dane, sorry. And that was for a top 10 position. So they've done well. Lee Deemer on the back of that as well as they're going forward. But yes, you're right. Carstensen unable to break away here of this train as Ashley Beard tries to think about making the move, but he can't do so again into 10A and 10B. The train is forming back up again.
It really is, and it's been this way for pretty much the whole race so far. So Carstensen not able to get away from Beard just yet. That'll be partly helped by the slipstream, but also Ashley Beard, having lost the lead, will be desperate to get it back again. He's got cars chasing him down and pressuring him from behind. Kip Stevens doing a good job in third place, putting all of the pressure in the race on Ashley Beard at this point in time.
Look behind. Look behind, because Danes and Deemer, oh, a bit of net code there as they morph into each other. Oh, more contact into the grass. Can he save it? Can he save it? The Belchek gets hit. The Belchek gets hit. He has to take to the club route as he goes through. Chris Danes, nowhere to go. Nebelchek. Now, how much damage does he have on his machine, or is he serving a slow down penalty? That's the question that needs to be asked. I think his car's okay as he moves on through, but just like that, the Belchek's got to do the work all over again.
Oh, side by side just in front of him as well. That's Lorne Murray and Paul Burgess. Burgess gets it on the inside. What have you seen?
I've seen Robin Haase make contact with Adam Hedgecock coming out of turn 7. He was down the inside, looking at 6, couldn't find it. Lunged at 7, contact on the exit, still couldn't find it as the top 7 remain in position. But look at this. Here's Dan Brown trying to get back at Robin Haase. Haase's going to give him no channel at all on the inside. And on the brakes they go. Around the outside goes Brown. He makes contact with Haase, and Haase drops the position. He drops 2 for his troubles.
Slidey, grassy route. Haase drops. So Haase will be down into 8th position at the end of... Although he did well to floor the throttle and keep the car from spinning.
He's done well to keep that car from spinning. Absolutely, yes, he has. But now he's got McNally behind, who's got the bit between his teeth, trying to get up through the order. Still, though, Niels Carstensen leads this one. Ashley Beard in second. Kip Stevens there in the 3rd position overall. This race changing again and again and again over the course of this one. This could go any which number of ways. And let's not forget here, ladies and gentlemen, still got 15 and a half minutes worth of racing coming up for you as well here in the second half of this race. So they've got to be so careful about how they attack. Ethan Bass looking to get aggressive here on Kip Stevens. No chance into turn 7. Stevens just slightly wide there and dropping the train slightly to Ashley Beard and Niels Carstensen. It was a 28-1 last time by from Niels Carstensen. The train doing 28-4s, 28-3s. Janowski quicker than the entire train. So that's the worry. Janowski could find themselves back to it, but look at Ethan Bates. If he's going to try and make a move, he's going to have to start thinking about it right now if he wants to get down the inside, because Hedgecock's getting a little antsy trying to think about making that move. No chance for them then as they head up through 10B and up the hill once again, but wide goes Stevens, and here's the chance for Bates down the inside, 2 tyres over the grass as he looks to procure the position, and he does.
Gets through into 3rd position. It's all about the base at this point in the race, and he's got it very nicely indeed. Further behind, Kip Stevens going defensive from Hedgecock, and Hedgecock gets into the side of him, and Stevens is going to very nearly, well, he's just about gets out of the gravel, returns to the road, but he's lost plenty of time.
He has lost plenty of time and a whole handful of positions, and Kip will remember that. He will not give Adam Hedgecock room next time they battle, and that is a promise, and that is not a prediction, so to speak. Dan Brown and Janowski crossed the beams on the front stretch, and they're still going at it with Haase just behind, who's managing to stay with them. Here is Janowski thinking about the inside. No dice. This time he got the grass, though, on entry, and he swings out wide. Robin Haase gets a freebie. Adam McNally, I think, is going to get a freebie as well. Is he? No, he's not. He's going to have to fight this one all the way to 10A and 10B. Just like that, though, that's the margin between success and failure.
Still they're side by side across the crest of the hill. There's a slight kink which goes to the right, and if McNally had managed to keep his car there, he could have had a chance of getting through before the braking zone, and he does now. So gets alongside him, gets past him. He's up ahead, still very, very close between the leading drivers. And it looks to me as if that's been nicely done there from McNally, who's going to come out of this lap much better off than he entered it in.
Crucially, Cedric Nebelchek is back into 11th position. He's got by Robert Lundgren, and next up will be trying to chase down Lee Diemer out on the road, and he's got to do it all over again as Carstensen at the halfway stage leads this one by just 0.3 of a second over Ashley Beard. Ethan Bass in third, Adam Hedgecock fourth, then it's Dan Brown, Robin Haase, Adam McNally, Julian Janowski, Kip Stevens and Lee Diemer rounding out the top 10 at the moment out on track. So we'll see how this all plays out as they go up on the brakes into turn 5. Your leading 6 split by just 3 seconds on the road. Your top 10 split by 5.5 seconds on the road. This tells you how competitive this race has been for the time being. But I think Ashley Beard right now, he's waiting for the chance to strike. He's seen Carstensen how quick he is. He only needs one opportunity. He's just got to get into position to take it.
Power set down as they go over the crest of the hill again down the straight. He's slipstream, but he's not going to be close enough, and I'm more fixated on the battle behind between Hedgecock, Brown and Haas, because it looks to me as if Haas is going to go to the inside of Brown this time around, and well, it's difficult to outbrake someone there, but very near. In fact, he might well do it because he's around the outside now.
Wow.
Puts the power down, and very nicely done. When you enter the chicane side by side, it really is down to bravery, and Robin Haas wins the battle of wits through there.
Well, the battle of wits is the war that's won, so he can be very happy with that. Robin Haase up into 5th place. Look at Ethan Bass. He's caught up to the back of Carstensen and Beard as they head themselves through turn 4 right now, and Ethan Bass took a good 0.4 of a second, half a second out of the leader that last time by. This race is far from over for everyone in the train, and Nebelchek is catching the back of it with Adam McNally and Lee Diemer together on the road. So this is not a finished product. Nebelchek did a 27.5 that last time by. He is the fastest man on track right now, and he is trying to chase every position down in the second half of this race, and he needs to chase them down for every single point because Robin Haase may very well just go by him in the championship.
So down the straight again, more slipstreaming taking place, and it looks to me as if Beard's closer than he's been for several laps now. And also Robin Haase there in the background, not satisfied with just getting past Brown, but here comes Beard up the inside of Carstensen now, definitely shows him to his mirrors. Carstensen sees that he's there and knows that he can't turn in, otherwise he's going to find himself being spun across the front of his opponent. Manages to hold on despite, but that was a serious attempt, a serious attack from Beard there. I wonder if he thought he could have got himself further alongside Carstensen in the braking zone. But Carstensen does a good job to hold on and not get too unsettled by that.
Well, now it's a train of 5. Robin Haas is on the back of it now, and they start to think about it. Beard runs slightly wide there through turn 2, turn 3 even, sorry, and kicks up a couple of cones as he goes down the hill at the Essex and back up it once again at turn 5 as he now starts to feel the pressure behind and drop a little bit from Niels Carstensen in terms of the draft. And behind this, here's Kip Stevens trying to find a way past Lee Diemer. He's not getting much luck, though. He looks to the outside here at turn 6 to try and get this move done. You don't often get it done around the outside here. He's trying to pick it up the run to get down the inside at 7. He's not going to have it. He's now going to have to try it turns 10A and 10B, and he's not got much at all. So we'll see how this one plays. Nebelchek, though, is on the back of that train as Robin Haase's through up into 4th. He's past Adam Hedgecock, and he got it done. Blink and you miss it. Turn 7.
Oh, here comes Beard now to the outside into the braking zone. Beard on Carstensen. Carstensen brakes later, and look at Bass there. Obviously caught out by how early Beard braked, and I wonder there whether Beard was either hoping that Carstensen would run wide or through the gravel so he could get a switchback, although not able to pull it off just yet. Across the lane again, Robin Haas, who just managed to get past Hedgecock, already taking a look at Base, making sure that Base doesn't take the ideal line through turn 1 as they go up towards the S's. I think that's just going to end up making them all drop back here, because when you make a move like that, when you force your opponent off the racing line, you really have to pull the move then and there, otherwise you end up being dropped like an anchor.
I wonder if Niels Carstensen, the number 3 driver, is backing the pack up into Haase and the Belshek, give them as much chance to score as many points as possible. I wouldn't put that out of the question. Haase again looks to the outside here at turn number 6. Not going to find it. Inside again at turn 7 on Ethan Base. And again, can't quite get it door to door as they now hit the power. But have they dropped the second to Ash Beard? That could be the big difference maker in terms of this. Look at that from Carstensen, immediately to the right-hand side to give Haase as much draft as he possibly can to help him out. That was not his traditional line through this section. Ethan Base has to be aggressive here on the brakes. We've seen him match the likes of Robin Haase on these brakes, but on that inside line, I think he's cut it a bit too fine there. And thank you, position is Robin Haase's, trying to get it back down the inside, but you're not going to find a lane at turn 12 now. Great driving, Haase up onto the podium.
Brilliant from Haas, and also in the background, trying to get back at Base as well.
The Belshek's got 2.
Turn 1. And the Belgiak indeed up into 9th position now, so he is gaining positions and needed to do so after his poor start to the race. Not entirely his fault. He did get particularly rammed at one point in the race, which was not of his own doing whatsoever.
Base has got the slowdown penalty and he's having to serve it as he goes through turn 6. He's lost a lot of positions now and he's behind Dan Brown, which is going to help the Exeter Racer boys, who are not going to get many points at all coming out of this, because Johnny Brand's in 28th, and this is going to really hurt their team's championship. They've only got one good scoring driver with Steve Baxter not here today. Janowski dives down the inside, gives him a door as they goes through, and the Belshek pushes. I believe that is McNally through the corner. Sorry, that's Lee Deemer through the corner, and that's going to give another position then over to Nabelshek, who is flying back through the field. Crucially, Robin Haase is catching Beard and Carstensen, and there's not long left in this race. Carstensen a half-thought defensive then into 10A and 10B. Ashley Beard not out of this one. Don't write him off just yet. He's been so patient, waiting for the chance to get a victory. But just like that, there's Robin Haase behind, and he wants second.
Any of these 3 drivers could win this race now, and others, although this makes it more crucial for Beard to get past Carstensen. I don't think he's going to get the opportunity, because Haas is going to go to the outside of turn 1, trying to cut underneath him, going up towards the S's. He likes to try to pull moves there, although you need to be a bit more committed than that, and backs off. So Beard keeps the position for the time being, and this is going to give Carstensen some temporary breathing space. Carstensen just needs to push at this point. This is his chance to get away.
And it's worth noting that Nabelshek's through on Lee Deemer too. He's up into 7th place and chasing down Julian Janowski out on track. He took 1.1 seconds out of Janowski that last time by. He's halved the gap to the race lead in about 8 minutes. So now he's right on course to try and pick up a race victory, potentially, if they continue to fight at the same rate at the front of the field. Carstensen, Beard and Haase, who lead this one outright. Hedgecock in 4th. Dan Brown trying to chase down as well in 5th position. But Ashley Beard senses no time better than the present. Moves to the outside to try and make this move as Carstensen defends it. But I'm not sure Carstensen's got enough here on the brakes. He's going to have to send this one deep. Try and give Robin Haase a chance here. But just like that, Ash Beard on the inside. He's got the position sorted. He's up into the lead once again. But here's Robin Haase now trying to attack this one, trying to go down the inside, and Carstensen lets him have it. Haase up into 2nd. Here comes Hedgecock.
Well, he would do, wouldn't he? But, oh my word, and a slightly late move from Carstensen there. So a Hedgecock, and through comes Haas to the lead now. He's in 2nd place, but he's challenging for P1. And Beard sees that he's there. He's nervous into the S's. Haas does not back off. And, well, they just about make it through. Okay, it's Hedgecock. Look at Hedgecock and Brown side by side. Brown gets P4.
That is opportunistic there from Dan Brown. That was a sniped position, and the Belshek is now on the back of this train, which is what nobody in this train was hoping they were going to see. Janowski there as well, as now it's a train of 7 trying to get themselves one race victory, being held by Excite Energy at the moment. And Ashley Beard, this is British sim racers at its very finest at the moment. Janowski, no chance of making the move down the inside on Adam Hedgecock in the middle of that pack. Behind that, Deemer and McNally trying to stay on the train, as is Kip Stevens too, as they are trying to get themselves into position. But Robin Haase, a poor lap so far from him, dropping back off of Ashley Beard after the opening stages of that lap. Here comes the Belshek though, to the outside. He tries to fight against Julian Janowski. He may be boxed in here by Adam Hedgecock as he's later on the brakes. Can he slow it up? Yes, he can. Around the outside, the Belshek's up to 6th.
Belshek up into P6. This is important for his championship, since Foggy gained more points than him in the first 2 races. And to be honest, I think Belshek will end up extending his championship lead because of this. However, Janowski's coming back at him, and look at Haas to the inside. That was close. Has to back out of it again. Wasn't as close as he was last time around. Actually, Belshek's under attack from Janowski again.
Look at turn 1. Always turn 1 with Robin Haase. He's so good out of turn 12, and he's looking to attack at every opportunity. Ashley Beard. Carstensen giving the space behind in 3rd position to allow Dan Brown and co to be bogged down and frustrated. Little bump to the back of Adam Hedgecock there from Cedric Nebelchik. Pushes him very wide, and that's going to be a push to pass as he gets the position. Up into 5th now goes Cedric Nebelchik with a touring car style move as he goes on through. Now what though for Robin Haase? He's so good at turn 7 as well. The brakes is where Haase has been so instrumental in terms of his driving, but Ashley Beard is now going to have to try and hold this off, and he's not got many laps to do so as well. I say he's only got a handful as he gets himself straight to that inside. Robin Haase has got to go the long way round to get past Ash Beard, who immediately pinches down to the outside there on Robin Haase. Is he late enough on the brakes to get himself into position? Yes, he is. Can he chop the nose off? Yes, he can. Oh, a bit of contact there. And Ashley Beard trying to get the power on the exit. More contact between them. Here comes the Belshek down the inside. An RSO train on the inside as Brown fights on the outside. Noah's Ark they go. The Belshek up to 4th, and Carstensen under pressure. Here comes Hedgecock as well.
That is pure touring car racing there, and Haas leads the lap. Nebelshek's going through to 3rd. Brilliantly done from all of those drivers. And to be honest, the fact we've got through that cleanly so far is just phenomenal. In the background, Janowski. Oh, very close between Janowski, Hedgecock, and Brown. Brown hangs on to it for the time being. And Nebelshek, Beard hasn't given up yet with Haas here, but he's going to run slightly wide, and I think Nebelshek's going to get a better run up to turn 6.
Here we go, Cedric Nebelshek now, and he knows he's got 3 laps to get this. He goes hard to the inside. Oh, there's no room there. There's no room at the end, and they save it together. There was a bit of contact there, but they're able to hold it together. Ashley Beard didn't only give 1 line, and it was the Nebelchek line that cost him against Johnny Brandon on the final lap of race 2 of this night on round 14 of the championship. Now, Robin Haase has slightly a bit of breathing room, but Nebelchek has been the man on a tear through this field. He's had the bit between his teeth. He's had to come back from mistakes as he goes for it again. Behind that, though, here's Janowski diving down the inside on Adam Hedgecock. Can he slow it up? Yes, he can. And he gets himself up into 6th place. But here comes Beard back again. Hard to the inside, trying to pick it up against Robin Haase. Has he got the move sorted? Nebelshek's in the grass, and just like that, Ashley Beard leads. And get this, 2 laps to go as Nebelshek fights for 2nd against his title rival and teammate.
He's going to get it. Nebelshek up to 2nd now as they head up towards the S's again. And I have to give credit to Ashley Beard. He has been the absolute master of going to the limit, but not over it today in his defense and in his attacks. He seems to know exactly what's going to cause an accident and not quite cause it. Brilliant driving from Ashley Beard. He's got 2 quicker drivers, with all due respect to Ash, behind him in Nebelshek and Haas, but he's hanging on to his lead very nicely. Here come Haas and Nebelshek. They're going to get the slipstream again. They're going to be extremely difficult to hold off here, but you do have the added dynamic to this that they'll be fighting each other as well for that second position. As we go down the straight now,
Yeah.
it's all going to be to play for towards the S's. I should point out that Nebelshek and Haas are teammates, but I'm not sure that they'll remember it in the
Oh,
heat of the moment.
no,
And
no, no, no.
Nebelshek to the outside.
Wow, contact between them with a lap and a bit to go. That was opportunistic. Ashley Beard's gone too deep through the corner. Can he block on the exit? Yes, he can. He can. And he blocks himself through 11.
Excellent.
Nebelshek with nowhere to go. Excellent car control from Ashley Beard to hold on. But he's got to do it for one more 4-kilometer revolution of the track. Haas is in the grass trying to get the run through as Nebelshek goes to the outside. It's 3 wide into turn 1. There goes Haas into Nebelshek, into Ashley Beard. Both of them in the fence. Haas leads. Carstensen now in second. Dan Brown in third. And Haas will take the championship lead come hell or high water, heading to Barcelona in 1 week's time. Just like this, though, he's still got to think about the race lead. Carstensen's there in second. In third is Dan Brown. It's fourth for Janowski. Fifth at the moment now is going to be Adam Hedgecock, with McNally in sixth, Deemer seventh, Stevens in eighth. It is now Ashley Beard in ninth, and Nebelshek is behind Adam Barth, now in 13th place, out on the road. Now into turn 7 comes along Robin Haase. Just like that, drama of the highest proportions, and it involves two teammates who are not afraid to battle with each other. And what will Manuel Sudo say after this when those two get themselves a very, very cold Discord channel between them, as now Carstensen with one last chance to go and make that move. Does he dare dive on his teammate? Does RSO implode in the biggest faction? No, they do not, as on the brakes through 10A and 10B, they come along, and the drive to the line, leading the train, it is Robin Haase who goes back to back here at Road Atlanta and takes the lead of the championship, heading to Barcelona.
A slightly bittersweet race there for Team RSO and Robin Haase, and I must say there was room there. Very, very risky when you go 3 wide into turn 1. I think that he knew that's where he was strong, and he knew that he had to go for it there. And to be honest, there wasn't really much that he did wrong there. It was just a massive, massive risk, and it ended up not paying off whatsoever. So in the end, Ashley and Cedric both ended up being caught out very, very badly in all of that. And I have to say that my driver of the day here has been Niels Carstensen, because he's driven so cleanly and so well, with the exception of his incident with Robin Haase in race 2. Not with Robin Haase, with
Johnny Brandon.
Johnny Brandon, indeed, in race 2. But aside from that, a wonderful, wonderful job from Niels Carsten. Takes second place, only leads out by a tenth of a second. So, yeah, what a race, my goodness.
This is pure racing theatre. Make sure that you watch again and again and again. Tell your friends, tell your grandchildren, tell whoever it is you need to about just how brilliant this racing was. Robin Haase picks up the race victory in 31 minutes 17 seconds of beautiful TCR racing. Niels Carstensen, his teammate, is behind in second, with Dan Brown picking up the podium in third position. A great drive from Julian Janowski. He gets fourth place, with Adam Hedgecock fifth, and your biggest gainer in the field, Adam McNally, 24th after a nothing first 2 rounds of this evening. He gets himself 6th place come the end of the race. Lee Deemer makes sure that the top 7 finish within 1.6 seconds of each other, with Kip Stevens in 8th. Ashley Beard dumped from the lead in the final laps on the opening corner. He gets 9th place come the end, with Dan Blake rounding out the top 10 for year 1.
11th place went the way of Cedric Nebelshek after that incident.
Getting John Roberts.
Sorry, no, I meant John Roberts, and then Cedric Nebelshek. Lorne Murray was P13, followed by Adam Barth, Robert Lundgren, Paul Burgess, Scott Malcolm, Andrew Woodhouse, Sean Gardiner, and Carl Jacquelet.
Martin Sampson gets 21st position come the end. Johnny Brandon did make recoveries through the field, but only to 22nd position, a compounded misery for him after what has been a poor round 15 of the championship here for XV Racer and the team's championship. Carl Hardy gets himself 23rd with Charles Kellyman in 24th overall. Dean Timms and Ethan Bass 25th and 26th. Bass really dropped off there, off a cliff towards the end, and Andy Maxwell in 27th. Michael Bingham's the last finisher on the leading lap. 3 cars failed to finish. Chris Daines, Nicole Foggy, crucially, and Jim Flanagan as well. Well, my goodness me, what amazing racing, what drama, what theatre we have had here at Road Atlanta. And the best part is, it happens at the same time in 1 week's time here on Forever Sim Racing. You can catch what happens at Barcelona here in just a week's time, with iRacing bringing you some more brilliant action with the BSR TCR. But Caitlin, final thoughts as we bring proceedings to a close here from this magical, magical track.
Well, I know I said that my driver of the day went to Nils Carstensen, but I have to give a shout Beard, who defended so well, and truly his defense was magical at times, like when he went slightly too wide into the chicane, but somehow managed to cover it off perfectly on the exit. So precise. Definitely one of the most precise drives I've ever seen in my life, and I do feel like he was pretty much robbed on the final lap there. I think he probably deserved that race 3 victory, but anyway. It is what it is, and we shall see what comes of it afterwards. Whatever the case, that's that. Fantastic driving from a lot of drivers, not so good driving from others. And I think that Cedric Nebelsiak still goes away from here with a decently sized lead, but it's certainly been eaten into by Robin Haas.
We'll see if that is the case. Of course, you can see all the championship standings and stuff at the beginning of our broadcast every week. But if you want to get them just a little bit before, you can head over to the Forever Sim Racing Facebook page, where things get posted and a lot of information gets held. Of course, we also like to announce here on Forever Sim Racing that the Venom Works Sports Car Championship will be joining us for 2020, and we are very pleased to have them along for the ride with us. But from Caitlin Penny, who's been on my left-hand side, and Marco Barbanera, who's been behind the cameras, a massive thanks has to go out to so many people. But before we do, we're going to very quickly dive into an interview with Adam McNally here, who gets a fantastic 6th place finish. Adam, race 1, race 2, they did not work out in your favour, but you come to race 3, a bit between your teeth, chip on your shoulder, and you get yourself into 6th place. Just how instrumental was picking your way through the field, one overtake at a time?
Oh, it was great. I had honestly never enjoyed it so much as I did there. It was just channels seemed to open up, and I seemed to be able to get my way through. Had to be a little bit forceful on some, but nothing major. Nothing any other touring car driver wouldn't do. But
Couple.
don't think I forced anybody off.
Well, you didn't force anybody off from what we could see, but a couple laps too late for you in terms of fighting for a podium. It was such a strong battle at the front. Every time it seemed that there was a chance for a breakaway, it just never happened. Did that influence you in terms of your decisions, maybe to be a bit more patient, knowing that you were having to fight, especially with your teammates as well, around so many quick drivers?
Well, what happened was I was catching up, and I got onto the back of Janowski and Brown, and then I got a slowdown in the final chicane.
Oh,
So I dropped us another 3 positions. So then I had to make them back up again. And like I said, 1.2 off the lead, not bad going from 24th on the grid. So, like I said, over the moon with my performance. Like race 1 and 2 didn't go my way with contact and a bit bad luck, but still had some great battles. So just take away the positives from the racing.
and a whole lot of positives you can take from that as well. 1 week's time, Barcelona, very different track, all about carrying momentum through corners, all about the ability to be very strong on the brakes, a full Grand Prix layout as well, which means you've got a very tricky chicane with a lot of anti-cut curb, which these vehicles don't like. How are you challenging yourself at a Barcelona track, which has probably been run a lot through week 13, but not much since?
Oh, wait, I'm actually quite looking forward to it. We've done a couple of races in the various championships there, so had some practice there. Really enjoyed the track, and just hopefully I don't roll it like I did at Snetterton the other day on the curb, because didn't think it was possible to roll these big beasts, but apparently it is. So just had to be a bit more cautious on hammering them curbs.
Looked quite a bit more Dukes of Hazzard. Of course, you can catch that on some of the things that Adam McNally does in his spare time. But before we let you go, Adam, any shout-outs, any sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, big shout out to everyone behind the scenes who does all the race organisation. you guys for doing the commentary, to our main sponsors, Excite Energy, for keeping on board with us. We'll have Motorsport Days Live, who have an event coming up on the 1st and 2nd of November at Silverstone. There'll be some sim rigs up and that, so chance for people to come and meet some drivers, have a few races. We've got the Prio Premature Baby Foundation, Lux Sim 24,
And
and we also have the Racing Mentor.
absolutely, and some brilliant sponsors there. It's not like you were reading from a list or anything like that, Adam. Not
I
at
wish
all.
I had a list there, to be honest with you.
Brilliant. Adam McNally, always a fun driver to have in for interview. He finishes off the day in 6th place. But again, a massive thanks to those who get it done. Firstly, to Forcex Designs, who have been instrumental in terms of the graphics production that we've had here today, as well as, of course, Violet. You can catch her music on Bandcamp and on Spotify. Once again, Caitlin Penny, Marco Barbanero have been brilliant joining us. Cameras brought to you by Dougie Beard. I've been Jake Sperry, and my goodness me, have we seen some racing theatre. Every single second, every lap, the story changed. Everything could just change in a click. And let's not forget, there's 7 more meetings of this championship to go. You cannot miss any of them here with Forever Sim Racing. We all are forever.